Hi folks, this is Karim Rao from IT Visualizer channel. Today we will continue our lab, the Mass Effect lab. This is the second video in the series. I've been discussing in the previous video the following. I've been discussing in general what is computer networking or what is its benefits. In the first place, where we are making a network between computers. So we make network between computers to share computer resources between the computers in the network. For example, if we have this graph I have discussed before in the previous video, this graph, let me show you all. So for example, here for example we have a couple of PCs, 1 2 3 4 5. We have 5 PCs. We need to make a network computer or computer network between these 5 PCs. So we need to have in every PC a network card, and then we need to get a cable, because in this network card there is a port. So we will plug a cable in this port and put it in a device called the switch. Also it contains multiple ports. So we need to have computers, and then we need to have a network card installed in each computer, because this network card, it is the way that these computers will communicate with each other, exactly like the phone. If you need to call someone, so you need to run off or pick up the phone, and then if he needs to answer you, he needs to open, or he needs to also pick up the phone from his side. So you need to have 2 telephones, okay, and 2 users talking to each other. So this is the same. We have computers, we have network cards, okay. We will plug a cable in the network card and put it in the switch, okay. So by this way we have made a network or a network connection, or we make a computer network, or we linked all these PCs together. Why we need a computer network, or why we need to link all these computers together in a network? We can share resources. For example, if you need to share a document here, so you need to see it on the other PC. For example, if you have some photos and documents on this PC, so this PC can see it if they are on the same network. For example, you need to run a program on this PC, so you can run it from this PC if they are all networked, or they are all in a computer network. So to have a network, you need to have computers with network cards and cables plugged from the network card to the switch, and then we need to give them unique IDs, which is called IP addresses. So this is the second step. You need to connect them to a switch, and then you need to give them unique IDs or unique IP addresses, which are not only they should be unique, but they should be in the same network range. For example, we have here 10.0.2, so all of these PCs should be in the same range. Like for example, this is the first range, 10.0.2.5, so this is the first range, okay, or this is the first PC. It's in the range, its network is 10.0.2. so this is the building. As I said before, we have discussed this before in the video. This is a building, it's called 10.0.2, and this is number 5. This is the flat, or this is the apartment number. So this is the building, and this is the flat, and this is the building, and this is the flat, and this is the building, and this is the flat, and this is the building, and this is the flat, and so on. So for example, if we changed it from 10.0.3, so this PC will not be able, or these PCs will not be able to communicate with 10.0.3, because it is a different building, okay. We have discussed this here before. For example, here we have, okay, this building, okay, and this is our flat. It's flat 5 in the building 10.0.1. so this is another building 10.0.3, and this is the flat number 5, 10.0.3.5. so this one cannot talk to this one, or 10.0.3.5 cannot talk to 10.0.1.5, okay, because this is a building and this is another building, okay. So we have, as I said before, to make a network we need to have network cards. We need to plug them in a switch. We need to give them unique IDs, okay, which should be in the same range, and then we need to group them logically, okay, after installing operating system on these PCs. So before operating systems, they can talk to each other in the physical layer, okay, or natively. They can talk natively without operating system through the network cards, okay. But after you install operating system, you need to inform the operating system that these computers are in the same network. So to do this, you need to inform the Windows operating system, okay. So we can group these, or we can as we said before, they are now physically grouped, okay, but through the Windows operating system they should be also grouped, but logically, okay. So there is two ways to logically group computers in a Windows operating system, which can be in, as I said before, in a work group or in a domain. A work group, every computer can share resources with the other computer, but everyone is responsible for himself. What we mean by this, for example, if you need to access this computer, you need to have a username and a password created on it, and if you go to this computer you should create another username and password to access it, and the same applies. If you need to share something, you need to access this computer and share these resources, okay, or share a file on this PC, so every other one should see this share folder, or should see this folder, okay. And if you need to share something on this PC, you need to access it, or to access a username and a password on this PC and share it again so the other can see it. So every computer is responsible for himself. He's responsible for the users created on him, he is responsible for the backgrounds or the Windows setting, he is responsible for sharing documents. So every PC is responsible for himself, okay. So there is no central location, or there is no central authorization, or there is no central PC, or there is no PC that control all of the other PCs, okay. So every PC is responsible for himself, for his setting, for his Windows setting, for his sharing, for his security, everything. The different applies for the domain. The domain, you have a server, okay. This server controls all of the PCs connected. So for example, we have a domain, and then we have, for example, 300 PCs or workstations, and we have one server. This server will control the 300 PCs. What we mean by this? What we mean that if I created a user on this server, it can log into all of the workstations or the 300 PCs in the domain. Opposite of this, if you create a user here on this PC, you need to go again and create the same user on this PC another time. So if you need to access the 5 PCs, you need to create the user 5 times, okay. But in the domain it's only created once, and then you can log into every PC in the domain. Not only this, for example, you need to have a certain background or a certain Windows setting applied to all of the 300 PCs. This also can be done from the server. So for example, if I need to change the background here, I need to log into this machine and change the background, and then log in again to this PC and change the background, and do this 5 times. But here I can do it once from the server, and it will be applied on all of the PCs. So we can simply brief this in that this is a decentralized solution. Every PC controls himself and control the setting and control what everything on the PC, from Windows setting, from sharing, from users created on it. For example, this PC is responsible for creating, or there will be a user that will be responsible for creating users on this PC, and there is another user responsible for creating users on this PC. So it's a decentralized solution. As for this, it's a centralized solution. Everything is done from one server or from one place, and it is pushed or used, or it will be pushed or control, or it will control the rest of the PCs in the domain. So you can create one user and it will log on all of the PCs in the domain. You can force a specific Windows background, and it will be applied all to the workstations in the domain. So this is a centralized solution, and this is a decentralized solution, okay. So this is better because this is, you can manage it and control it more than this. So this user, for example, can put a different background than this user, and this user can put a different background than this user, and this user can put a different background than the others. But in a centralized one, you can force one background, one screensaver, everything, and this is all done from one place, okay. So this is basically as I said before, what is network computing and its benefits, okay, and the two ways to logically group computers in a network. And then we begin discussing what is a Hyper-V. A Hyper-V, it's a virtual, or it is a program that is responsible for creating virtual machines. So we will use it to create virtual machines. There are a lot of programs doing the same function, something like VMware Workstation Pro and VirtualBox all are responsible to create virtual machines. What I mean by creating virtual machines, for example, this is a laptop that contains 4 processors, 8 GB of RAM and 1 hard disk, for example 1 tera. Through this program I will take a part of the RAM, for example it's 8, I will take 2 GB of RAM, and then I take from, for example I have 4 processors, I will take 1 processor and I will take a part of my hard disk which is 1 tera, I will take for example 200 GB and combine all of this and create a machine, okay, or create a virtual machine using the Hyper-V program. Okay, we have discussed the Hyper-V, how to install it, and then we have discussed the various type of switches in the Hyper-V. As I said before, if you need to make a network, you need to have or connect them all to a switch. Okay, so there is different types of switches, or if you need to create virtual machines in the Hyper-V and you need to connect them or put them in a network, okay, you need to put them or plug them to a switch, but this is a virtual switch, and we have discussed before what is the type or different type of switches. We have 3 types of switches: an external switch, an internal switch, and the private switch. External switch, it is a switch that enables the virtual machines to communicate with each other and to communicate with the physical machine or the real machine, okay, or let's say it enables the guest to communicate with the host. Okay, so this is the host and this are the guests. Okay, so this switch enables the guest to communicate with the host, okay, and they enable the guests to communicate with each other. So this is 4 virtual machines. They can communicate with each other or share resources with each other and share resources with the host through this network card. Okay, so this is one of the functions of the external virtual switch, and it also gets these virtual machines and the host to the internet. So the external switch enable the virtual machines to communicate with each other and to communicate with the host, and also get both the host and the virtual machines or the host and the guest to the internet. The internal switch is the same as the external switch but without the internet. Okay, so virtual machines can able to communicate with each other and with the host, or the virtual machines can be able to communicate with the physical machine, or the guest can communicate with the host. Okay, and at the end there is the private switch. The private switch enable the virtual machines to communicate with each other or the guest to communicate with each other, but it will not communicate with the host. Okay, so this is basically the 3 types of switches, okay, that we need to know, okay, or we need to decide which one we will create when we create our lab. For example, I will create 2 virtual machines. For example, this is our lab, this is my laptop, and then I install the Hyper-V program, and then I will install or I will create an internal switch. Okay, Hyper-V internal switch type, the one that we have discussed before. It will not get us to the internet, so it will make us or make the virtual machines communicate with each other and with the host. So this is a virtual machine, this is the domain controller, and this is the MBAM server, or this is the server that we will install the Microsoft BitLocker administrative tool or administrative and monitoring tool. So it will be installed on a server, or it will be a member server, and this is domain controller. They are on 2 ports on this Hyper-V internal switch, and my laptop is also plugged on this switch. So these 2 virtual machines can talk to each other and can talk to my laptop. Okay, so this is an internal switch, and this is the type of switch. We can go to this diagram to be more specific. Here we can see that this is my laptop, and this is the IP address of my laptop, which should be in the same range of these 2 virtual machines. It's 10.0.1, so I need to be in the range 10.0.1, or I need to be in the building 10.0.1. so I am here exactly on 10.0.1, apartment 100, and this is apartment 20 and apartment 21. So these two virtual machines will be plugged on Hyper-V internal switch, and the name of the switch is DC internal switch. Okay, so these two machines will be plugged on this virtual switch, and my laptop will be also installed or will be plugged on this virtual switch, so these two virtual machines can talk to each other. I can talk to my laptop. Okay, we see that this will be a domain controller which will contain DNS, WINS, group policy, and the other one will be a member server, and we install on it the Microsoft BitLocker administrative monitoring tool. Okay, how to create a switch? Simply going to the Hyper-V and open the virtual switch manager and choose the type of switch you need. Okay, so this is the type of it's Hyper-V and the type of virtual switches. Okay, and how we install it and the differences between them. We will create a virtual machine and install Active Directory domain services on it and promote it to be a domain controller, and we will put two network cards on this virtual machine, and we will make teaming between the two network cards for redundancy. So why we make two network cards and make team between them? So if one of them fails or it's not working, the connection or the network connection to the server will not be down. The other one will continue working and everything will be fine, and the connection to the server will not be down. Okay, so this is for redundancy. Okay, or network load balance. Okay, for load balancing. So to if there is a lot of traffic. Okay, so these two cards will distribute the network balance on them, and also for redundancy, if you need to make sure that your network connection to the server will not be down, so you can make network teaming. So if one of the network cards fail, the other one will continue working. And then we have installed Active Directory domain services, okay, on the server, and we have installed the WINS server role. As had we said before, WINS server role, it is a way that for example, as I said before, if you, it's the same as DNS, by the way, and the two work with the same concept. What is a DNS and what is the WINS? The DNS, basically what it does, we all can remember, as I said before, sorry, if you need to have all of these PCs in one network to talk to each other, so you need to have unique IDs, which is unique, or it is IP addresses. Okay, or it's called IP addresses. Okay, so it is very difficult to remember the numbers. This is, for example, 192.168.1.13, so I can't, every time I need to talk to this PC, I cannot remember this large number. So to make it more simpler, the DNS comes in the play. What we will do, we can give every PC a name. So this is for example the name of the PC. It's PC Marvel 05. This is the name of the PC. This is PC Marvel 04. So simply when I want to talk to PC Marvel 04, I just type the name. Okay, this is the PC Marvel 05. It's called the net BIOS name. Okay, but PC Marvel 05.marvel.local, which is the name of the domain, this is called, all of this is called full domain name. Okay, so the DNS, what it do, when I give it the full domain name, it gives me the IP address. So for example, if I need to talk to PC Marvel 04 marvel.local, I will give the DNS the name, or I will type, for example, PC Marvel 04 PC Marvel 04.marvel.local and press enter. Then the DNS will take my request and then see the IP of this server or this PC and return the IP to me, so I can talk to the PC. So again, PC Marvel 05.marvel.local, this is the full domain name. Okay, it's called full domain name. But PC Marvel 05, it's called the net BIOS name. So the DNS will return, or it will, when you give it the full domain name, it will give you the IP address of the machine. As for the WINS, you only give it the net BIOS name, so it will give you the IP address. So they are working the same concept. Okay, so we have discussed what is a DNS, what is an Active Directory functional levels, or what is a global catalog member. We have discussed that Active Directory function levels, it is an option that you, through it, limit or tell the Active Directory that if you have multiple domain controllers, okay, you specify a different, or you specify a specific operating system to be installed on these domain controllers. Okay, why we are specifying a specific operating system to be installed on the domain controller, because the Active Directory differs from different operating system. For example, the Windows Server 2016 contains an Active Directory that it is different than the Active Directory in Windows Server 2019, and for example Windows Server 2008 contains a different Active Directory than the one on the Windows Server 2016. So to have all of the full function of all of the full features of the Active Directory, so or to see, or if you to use all of the Active Directory full features, you need to unify the operating system of the domain controllers. This will be done through the Active Directory functional levels. So you tell him, for example, I need the functional level of the forest to be Windows Server 2016 and the domain level to be the Windows Server 2016. So by these two function levels you are specifying the type of system to be installed on the domain controllers, and in return, or in after that, this will decide, or this will lead to which Active Directory version that you will use. Okay, so we have tested. And what is a global domain controller or a global catalog? A global catalog, if you have, for example, multiple domain controllers and you have multiple domains, multiple child domains. So if you have a lot of domains, you need to specify one of the domain controllers in these different domains and subdomains or child domains to be a global catalog. This will be a domain controller that contains all of the Active Directory objects, or it will contain an index or archive of all of the Active Directory objects in all of the domains and the child domains. So if you need to search for example, a specific user or Active Directory user in a specific domain or a child domain, you can ask this domain controller. It's something like the telephone book. It contains all of the data or the telephone numbers and the names of the persons in a city or in a place. Okay, so this is the same. And then we have discussed the different Active Directory folders. When you install the Active Directory, there is a couple of folders. It will install some files on it. For example, there is a database folder and these log folders. The database Active Directory save the different users, groups and computers created in the Active Directory in a database. This is an internal database, and this database, it is located in C Windows NTDS, okay, folder. And there is also in this folder, it will log, or it will record all of the events happening in the Active Directory in a log file, and this log file or this text file or this recorded events will be in the same folder, C Windows NTDS. And there is also a folder called sysvol. This sysvol, it's in C Windows sysvol. This contains the group policies and the scripts that will be applied in the domain. A group policy, it is a way, or it is an option that Microsoft gives you, so you can control all of the Windows setting on all of the computers in the domain. Windows setting includes features to be opened, programs to be installed. So for example, if I need the BitLocker to be installed or to be activated on all of my PCs in the domain, I can do this through the group policy and push it from my server to all of my workstations. So all of the PCs will have BitLocker installed on them or activated on them. I need a specific background to be applied. Also, this can be done through the group policy. And at the end, we have created a custom console. This is a way that I can combine a lot of consoles in one. What I mean by this, for example, if I need to create a user in the Active Directory, so I need to open the Active Directory window or console and begin working on it. If I need to change something in a DNS, I need to open the DNS window or the DNS console, begin working on it. If I need to create a group policy, the same, I need to open the group policy window and begin working in it. So all of these windows can be combined in one window, so I can configure the DNS, the Active Directory, the group policy, the WINs, everything from one console and one window. So this is a custom console. And we have created a reverse DNS. A reverse DNS, it's we said before, the function of the DNS is to, when I give it the IP of the sorry, when I give it the name of the PC, it returns the IP address, because the human mind can't remember numbers frequently or easily, so names is better. So reverse lookup zone, it is the opposite. I give it the IP of the PC and it gives me the name. So for any reason, if you know, or if you remembered a PC IP address and you don't remember the name, so the reverse lookup zone or reverse DNS lookup zone, you just give it the IP and it returns the name of the PC to you, the full domain name, not the NetBIOS name. Okay, and at the end we have created something called Active Directory Central or Group Policy Central Store. It's a way, or it is a centralized location where all of the servers and workstations will get its group policy from. Okay, and I have discussed before that if you have different domain controllers, so every domain controller will have its own group policy. Okay, so this will be a problem if you have different operating systems. So let's just give you the graph also. So for example, if we have 5 domain controllers, and these 4 domain controllers, and this is the 5th one, all of them contain different operating systems, and all of them will have different group policies. All are located in C Windows policy definitions. So this will be a problem, because the group policy in Windows Server 2008 is older than the group policy in Windows Server 2012, and it's older than the one on Windows Server 2016, and 2003 is older than all of them. So this will make a problem when you apply group policy, because there is, or if you want to create a group policy, this will be a headache, because the group policies versions are not the same. Some are older than some, and if you need to create a group policy, you need to create it here and here and here and here. Okay, so what we will do, we'll have the server that contains the latest operating system, the latest Active Directory, the latest group policy, and we will put, or we will take a copy of the group policy. By default, the group policy in all of the Windows servers are in C Windows policy definitions. We will go to the Windows Server 2019 C Windows policy definitions and take a copy of this folder and put it in the sysvol folder, which is C Windows sysvol. I will put it there, and then by doing this, all of the servers will go and take their group policy from here. Okay, so you can change easily the group policy here, and it will be pushed, or it will be copied, or it will be applied to all of the servers will take their group policy from this central location. So you can edit group policy easily, you can push them easily. It's a centralized location, a unified group policy. So this is the benefits. Ensure all admins are using the same group policy templates. Loads the same templates from any computer. Easier to manage and update by having one location to update. Reduce temp files in the sysvol and reduce replication between domain controllers. So also this will decrease the time of replication between domain controllers, because why we make multiple domain controllers? So if this domain controller is down, the other domain controllers will work and the connection to the domain will not be down. So to do this, they need to be all have exact configuration, or they are exact configuration replica. So the configuration of the Active Directory should be the same in all of the domain controllers. So this process is done through something called replication, or syncing between the domain controller, or the primary domain controller, and the additional domain controllers. Okay, so this is also discussed in the previous video. So at the end, what also we have done, we have a group of group policy templates. As I said before, a group policy, it is a way that you can control the Windows setting, different Windows settings and programs on all of your workstations or all of your servers in the domain. This is not only the case, you can control also not only the Windows setting, but you can control the Firefox setting, the Chrome, the Classic Shell, the Office, and all of the different programs through also using group policy. But you need to download the group policy templates from the internet, the group policy template for the Firefox, the group policy template for the Chrome, and then take them and copy them and put them in the new group policy central store. So this store will contain the group policy of Windows and the group policy of Firefox and different applications. So we have discussed this in the previous video. In this video we will begin creating or begin creating Active Directory users and computers. For example, here I will show you a small graph. This graph, it is the here, for example, we can see that I need to create for example, the first thing that we will do, that we will have a PowerShell script that will create organizational units in the Active Directory. Okay, what we mean by organizational unit, it is a way that you can organize your Active Directory objects in a logical way. What we mean by this, for example, if you have, for example, music, and you have, for example, movies, and you, for example, have documents, so you go to your Windows and create folders, one folder for the movies and you put all of the movies files in it, and another folder for the music and you put the music files in it, and another folder for the documents and you put the documents in this folder. So this is the same. We will create organizational units. One we will put the computers in it, and the other we will put the users in it, and the other we will put the groups in it. So how this is the function, or the function of organizational unit, to organize or to logically group the Active Directory objects. How this will be done? This is a script. Okay, it will go and read from a file, a text file that contains the organizational units names and location. So this script will go to this Excel sheet and it will read the names of the organizational units we need to create and their location, and after it reads this from this Excel sheet, it will create the organizational units. The same applies for every Active Directory object. For example, we will have a PowerShell script that will read from an Excel sheet or a CSV file that will contains the Active Directory usernames, their location, their title, their department. Everything here will concerns the users will be in this Excel sheet, and the PowerShell will read the data from this Excel sheet, and then it will begin creating the users. Okay, and then the same applies for the groups, also a script, and it will read from an Excel sheet that contains the Active Directory groups names and location, and then it will begin creating the groups. And also the same for computers. Also the script will read from an Excel sheet that contain the computer names and location, and it will begin creating the computers and servers. In steps or in sequence, the first thing that we will create organizational units, and then we will create the Active Directory users, and then we will create the Active Directory groups, and then we will create the computers, and at last we will create the computers and robots. At last, the last thing that we will create. So let's begin. Let's see how this will be done. So let's go to the video. It's mbam, and then the video number 2, and then we'll go here. So here we'll begin creating. Okay, we will log into the first domain controller. It's EDMF01, ED abbreviation for the Artificial Intelligence of the Normandy ship, and MF it's mainframe 01. This is the first mainframe in the ED's or in the ED's ship, or in the ED's artificial intelligence. So here what we will do, so we will go and just check the DNS setting. In the previous video, after installing the Active Directory and DNS, we just check the network connection and make sure that the DNS setting is correct. Okay, and actually also in the previous video I have installed the Wins. I said before, it's something like the, just we can get a little bit more closer here. Okay, what we will do here, we will add the Wins to the network connection, or the network connection properties of the server. Why we are doing this? Because the Wins, it's not automatically added to the network connection setting. Okay, what is the Wins? The Wins is the same as the DNS. You give it the name of the PC, the NetBIOS or the NetBIOS name of the PC, and it will return for you the IP of the PC. The same as DNS, but the DNS you give it the full domain name, which is the NetBIOS name or the name of the PC plus the domain name. Okay, so we need to put the Wins server IP, okay, in the network connection setting of the domain controller after the Wins is installed, because this is not done automatically. On the contrary, for the DNS inserts after installing the Active Directory and DNS server. The DNS IP address is inserted automatically in the network connection setting. Okay, but we did a little bit of a tweak. Just we need to make sure that, or we change the DNS IP address from 127.0.0.1 to the IP of the server. They are technically the same, but I need to be more organized. So here we will go to Advanced and then the Wins, and then we will choose Enable NetBIOS over TCP IP, and then add the Wins server that we have installed in the previous video, 10.0.1.20. So now we have put the Wins server in the network connection setting for the domain controller. Now we will begin our journey, or we'll begin our way for creating the different Active Directory group objects in the domain of Mass Effect MEU.local. Different users, Active Directory groups, objects, and all of this. Here you can see that the Wins server, it's not working. Strangely, it's saying that it is not working, but it appears to be up and running. But we will make a restart to the Wins server just to make sure that everything is up and running. It says that it's not responding, but anyway, it is working, because actually it's giving us the green light, or the green icon. It means it is up and running. So now we will go to our PowerShell script folder, and then we will begin working with different PowerShell scripts to create users, computers, Active Directory, security groups, and so on. So we will right click and then make PowerShell, or click on PowerShell admin. This PowerShell should be run under an administrator account. So here there is a little bit of changing to the script. We need to change some setting in the script, because I use the same script in different labs, and the location of the scripts differ from one lab to another. So we need to change only the destination or the location of the scripts in the PowerShell script itself. Okay, because it reads, as I said before, some Excel sheets. So these Excel sheets are in certain locations. These locations differ from one lab to another. So we need to edit the PowerShell script and make sure that the locations are written correctly. Okay, location of the CSV files, the location of the scripts itself. Okay, here we can see a problem that, for example, here my scripts are in the Mass Effect so and so. The PowerShell scripts or the PowerShell doesn't recognize spaces between names in the folder. So if you have a folder that contains namespaces between them, you will not be able to change or go to this folder through the PowerShell module. So because here, for example, I need to go to the PowerShell folder, and from this folder I will run my scripts, so through the PowerShell. Okay, so here I am going to CD. I will change what I'm doing here. Here I'm changing the location. Let's go a little bit further. Here I'm telling him CD Mass Effect so and so, that I am going from, or change or go from the partition C folder users, administrator users, to go to the partition D folder Mass Effect so and so, but there is spaces between the name of the folder, so the PowerShell will not recognize this. Okay, so I need to make the folder without spaces. Why I'm doing this? Just to make the PowerShell recognize the location of the scripts and the CSV files. Okay, so I'm just changing here my location from this partition, this folder, to this partition, this folder. This will be done through the PowerShell. From the Windows, this is done simply by clicking and going from here to there, but through the PowerShell script it should be done through commands. Okay, and this folder contain my PowerShell scripts and my CSV scripts, and from this location I will run my scripts, okay, or I will run my PowerShell commands. Okay, so now here we'll begin working with the first PowerShell script to create the Active Directory organizational units. As you can see here that the location of is different. The location of the script, it is C users so and so. This is not correct. The scripts and the CSV files are in D Mass Effect, so we need to change the location from C so and so to D so and so. Okay, this will be done through all of the PowerShell scripts, because the location is not correct. The location of the scripts, it's not C so and so, it's in D Mass Effect DC domain scripts. Okay, so now we will begin running the first script to create the organizational units in the Active Directory domain, but I think there is a problem because the location is not correct. Okay, here I didn't type scripts. Okay, you will see in a couple of seconds. Here you can see that it's not correct. There is a problem. The DC domain, it is repeated 2 times. Okay, so this is correct. So the location was not correct. The PowerShell script, when I was giving him a wrong location, so he didn't recognize, or he wasn't able to locate the script and locate the CSV files that he will go and create the organizational units from it. From this Excel sheet he will have the names of the organizational units and their location. Okay, so now we have ran the script. So now if you go to the Active Directory, we can see here that there is organizational units created. First of all, this is the Citadel. It is the place or the capital of the Protheans, as I said in the introduction video. So this is the capital of the Protheans, which is now the location or the new location of the Citadel Council, which contains all of the species, okay, of or different species, including the human species. This Citadel Council, it is the United Nations, or it is the organization that unites all of the races together. Okay, so this is the Citadel or the Citadel Council, and it will contains the different organization units are on it. Users will contain the Active Directory users, and terminals will contain the computers. Squad team, this is organization unit that will contain the Normandy ship squad team. This users will contain all of the users in the Mass Effect universe. Okay, and security groups will contain the Active Directory security group. This is a type of robots in Mass Effect. So I have an organization unit for the robots, okay, and EDIS, okay, this is the servers, okay. So I am naming the servers on the name of the artificial intelligence of the Normandy ship, which is called EDIS, okay. So EDIS, this is the servers, okay, and terminals, this is the terminals for the servers or terminals for ED, okay. So this is the servers, this is the robots, or this is the computers, and this is the computers. The two are for users, okay, and one for the security groups. And as for the robots, I have created for every department, okay, here we'll give them a couple of robots to serve them. For example, for the engineering team, they will have a couple of robots to serve them. For the HR, they will have a couple of robots to serve them. For the IT, they will have a couple of robots to serve them. And we will do a little bit of a rule here to organize all of this. When it comes, I will show you all. Now we will begin. We should, as a sequence, after creating the organizational units, we need to create the users or the Active Directory users, okay, not the users or not the Active Directory groups, okay. Here I'm just also changing some setting in the script for creating Active Directory groups. Here I'm telling him to create the Active Directory groups in this organizational unit. So I need to put my organization, or need to put my groups, Active Directory groups, in this location, okay, security groups, or in the organizational unit of security groups. So this is what I was doing. So anyway, now what I will do, I will go and open the script, or a PowerShell script, to create the Active Directory users for the Mass Effect domain. This contains all the real characters, or all of the names of the Mass Effect universe. So we will see Captain Shepard, we will see Ashley Williams, we can see the Geth, we can see Trant, we can see our Grunt, we can see Catalyst, we can see the one that we have talked in the introduction, we can see ED, we can see Commander Anderson, we can see a lot of characters in the game. All of them are in the Active Directory users, or we will have Active Directory users created for them. And also, according to the Mass Effect universe, we will create also, or we will have groups or Active Directory groups that reflect this Mass Effect universe. Okay, so now also we are changing the location of the script, or the location of the CSV file that the script will go and create the users from. It's different, so we are changing the location. This is not the correct location. So now we will save the script. So here I'm changing, telling him to go read the correct CSV file to create the users. The location was not correct for the CSV file, so I told him the correct location. So now when I try to begin the script, he told me that there is a problem with the location. The location is not correct. There is a problem. He can't go to the CSV file, he can't find it, or the Excel sheet that contains the Active Directory users that the PowerShell script will create. He didn't find it in the location that I have specified for him. So here there is no scripts. It's only in DC domain, not scripts. It's directly to the import Marvel. So here we can see that it is DC domain. Okay, it's DC domain. Okay, and this is the right location of the script and the right location for the CSV file or the Excel sheet, that the PowerShell will go and read the usernames from it and the locations of these users and begin creating them. So here we can see that we have successfully every user created is giving a letter, or it's giving a list, or it's not a list, it is a message, for example, saying that the username is created or it has been added to the domain. So this means that he is successfully added. If there is a duplicate, it says that the user, it is already existing, so I typed or I put in the Excel sheet the user twice, or have repeated the users twice. Here we can see that in the users we can see all of our users created. All of them are the real characters or the real name characters for the Mass Effect. I have collected them from the different websites. It's basically Vandom. There is a site called Vandom or Mass Effect Vandom. So I took all of the characters in the game names and put them as usernames or Active Directory users. Now we will create the Active Directory groups. Here also we can see that there will be a problem because the location, also there is a problem with the location of the script and the location of the CSV file. So the location is not correct. Okay, so now it is corrected. So we need to change the location of the scripts, or the location within the script. Okay, because in the script I am pointing to him to read from a certain Excel sheet or CSV file the names of the Active Directory objects I need to create. So now we will create the Active Directory groups. So we have created the organizational units, we have created the users. Now the second sequence, we will create the groups. And now we finished creating the groups. So here we can see that there is the groups. Also according to certain criteria. For example, here I am creating them according to the species. So we have a group for the Asarian, we have a group for the Protheans. Let's show you here. There is a group for the Protheans with a group for the Reapers. This according to the species, and another criteria for creating Active Directory groups according to the type of data that they are accessing. So there is normal level users access normal data, there is restricted level users that will act restricted data, and or they will have restricted access to the data. This is higher level for accessing data, and there is the high level users that will access the high level data. Okay, it's according to the access. So I'm grouping them according to the access data criteria, and I can group them according to the department. So there is a group for the researchers, there is a group for the engineering, there is a group for the ship squad, there is a group for the IT. So every group we will see that it will have certain robots to serve them. Okay, I will show you also this when it comes. So this is the criteria for creating the Active Directory groups. I have a group for collecting all of the species in one group. It's called MEU, all species. MEU, it's abbreviation for Mass Effect Universe. Okay, there is a group for the admirals. For example, this group we will put it in the high level users. So the admirals are high or high ranking officers that can access the high level data. Okay, so okay, this is all the groups and the criteria for creating, or for the criteria for grouping users in these groups. There is a group for the medic, for example, for the medical team. So now what we will do, we have created the organizational units, the users, the groups. Now we will put, or we will have a script to put certain users in certain Active Directory groups, which this script is called group members PowerShell script. So by this script I will make some users as members of certain Active Directory groups. For example, I need Karim Raouf and a couple of users to be in the IT group or MAU IT group, and some to be in the HR group, and so on. So this is the third script that we will use. So here he is saying that some users are not members in or he didn't find these users, so he can put them in the groups that I have told him to put them in. Here we can see the admirals. We have all of the admirals in this group. Here we can see that, for example, the IT, we will have a couple of users in this group. So the last two lines, they will create the robots or the getters. Okay, these are the robots. We can consider them as laptops. Okay, so these are mobile computers. Okay, and the normal PCs, we can consider them as terminals, and the servers, we consider them as EDs. Okay, so now we have created the robots. Here I need to show you all something just concerning the robots, just to make sure, but when it comes, okay, because let's not get rush. We will have, I have a graph to explain this. So now we have the geths. Okay, so we have every department. For example, here we can see that this is the geth, it is the name of the robot, and this is the department engineering 01. So here this is the first robot for the engineering department, this is the first robot in the engineering department, this is the second robot in the engineering department, and last is the fourth robot in the engineering department. And for example, we have one for the housekeeping, robot for the housekeeping, the first one. We have a fighter, or FT, it's abbreviation for fighter, so this is the geth fighter. Okay, it will be number 10. We have a lot of geth fighters, or compact fighters, or let's say robot fighters, and this is all. So for every department we will have certain robots to serve them. Okay, and then this is the last line to create servers and computers. So now if you go to ED, okay, or the organizational unit of ED, we can see that there is a lot of server objects created, and if you go to the terminals organizational unit, we can see that there is a lot of terminals. Okay, so here we can see that it's ED, we have these 10 servers. MF, it's mainframe, so it's considered a server. As for terminals, we have ED, just a moment, we have here ED terminal 04, so we are ED, it's the artificial intelligent name, and TR is abbreviation for terminal, so we have a lot of terminals linked to ED, or the server of ED, okay, or the artificial intelligence of ED. Okay, so we have ED terminal and ED mainframe. ED terminal, it's a normal computer. ED mainframe, it's a server, or it is a main or a mainframe computer. Okay, so for example, here you can have the catalyst. Okay, we have seen this. So what we will do now, here we will do something. I need to show you all a graph to talk about it. Here we will do something. When you install the Active Directory, there is some built-in or created Active Directory groups by default. So when you install the Active Directory, these 4 groups are installed automatically for you or created automatically for you. These 4 groups are built-in group called administrators, built-in group called domain admins, built-in group called enterprise admins, built-in group called schema admins. Okay, and here I have my Active Directory group, which is called MEU_IT. Okay, so this MEU_IT, this is my Active Directory group that will contain all of my IT personnel. So what I do, I will put this group or this Active Directory group to be a member of these 4 built-in Active Directory groups. Why? Because by putting myself, or putting not myself, my IT group or my IT Active Directory group to be a member of these 4 built-in groups or 4 built-in Active Directory groups, I will have full control over the Active Directory. Okay, so this is a very important step to give you full rights or full control over the Active Directory. By doing this, you have full rights to do anything, or the IT will have full rights to do anything and everything to the Active Directory. Okay, so this is a very important step. You need to do it. Okay, so let's do this. And by the way, domain admins and enterprise admins are by default members of administrators group. So we'll see that in a moment. Also, here I am telling him MEU_IT to be a member of the domain admins and to be a member of the enterprise admins. And by the way, after doing this, we need to disable the local administrator or the local administrator account on the server, because we don't need this user anymore, because here now my MEU_IT Active Directory group have the same rights of the local administrator on the server. Okay, and actually more, they have they have rights of local administrator, and we have all of the rights needed to manage the Active Directory. Okay, so here we will add MEU to the administrators group. We have done add them to the enterprise group, the domain admins group, the schema group, or schema admin groups, and the administrators group. We don't need to do the last step, because the domain admins and the enterprise admins are members by default from the administrator groups. Here we can see that, for example, this is the 4 users that are in the IT group. Here the catalyst, we have known that the catalyst, it is the EI, or the artificial intelligence that have rebelled on the Leviathans, okay, and created the Reapers. So this is the catalyst, and this is ED, the artificial intelligence of the Normandy ship. This is my name, and this is the Legion robot. This is one of the members of Captain Shepard fighting team to fight the Reapers. And the Overlord, this is one of the enemies of Captain Shepard. This is also an artificial intelligence. Both the Legion robot and the Overlord robot and Easy and Catalyst all are artificial intelligence, except me, for of course the human one, Karim Rauf. And then here I go to the MEU all species. I need to add all of my users here in this organizational unit in this group. Okay, this will contain all of the users in the Active Directory or the MEU Active Directory. So here I am changing the location. I'm telling him to search in the organizational unit of users under the domain, and then I will add all of the users in this organizational unit in the MEU all species. Okay, and then for the high level users we will add the admirals, okay, to be in the high level users. This is a group that will have access to sensitive data, so I will make the admirals or the MEU admirals group to be a member of this high level groups. Okay, and we can add the Citadel Council. We have also a group for the Citadel Council, so the Citadel Council and the admirals can access or will be members of MEU high level users. This group will access sensitive data and will have extensive rights or high level rights to all of the operating systems in the Citadel, okay, or in the domain. Okay, so now we will have the normal users or the normal group. Okay, we can add also a couple of groups here in the restricted level group. We will add some groups, for example, like engineering or something like let's see now. So for the normal users, we'll add a couple of Active Directory groups. So we will add the researchers, okay, or the researchers to be in the normal level data access group, or normal level access users. So the researchers will be in the normal level users, and we will add the medic also as well, medical team. So they will be in the normal level access users, and the restricted will be for the engineering and a couple of users also, sorry, a couple of groups in the Active Directory. So here you can see it, MEU engineering. Okay, so now we have a couple of Active Directory group, Active Directory user or Active Directory security groups edited. Shared access, this we will have a share, or we will have a folder that all of the species and departments will be able to access it. So we put MEU all species in this group, okay, because through this group or shared access we will give it rights on a certain folder, so all of the users can access it. Okay, MEU ship squad team, this is a group for the Normandy squad team. Here you can see that everything, it is in order. Normal users, researchers, restricted, shared access. Okay, Turonian, you remember the Turonians, this are the one that cooperated with the humans to make the Normandy ship. So this is the race that cooperated with the human race to create the first ship to travel through the galaxies, which was the Normandy ship. This is Commander Shepard. So now we have our organizational unit. We need to take our ship Active Directory users and put them in the squad team. So all of our Active Directory or all our Mass Effect universe are in the users Active Directory organizational unit, or all are on the organizational unit of users. We need to take a couple of, or we take the ship members or ship Active Directory users to be in the ship or in the squad team organizational unit. So now we will choose a couple of them. For example, we need to put Commandant Shepard in the squad team organizational unit, and we need to put Ashley Williams in the squad team organizational unit, and we need to put a couple of users, move them from the users organizational unit to the squad team organizational unit. So there is a couple of things. This is also, I am following a specific very detailed or very specific about the members. Are the real members in the game. So what I am doing now, are the real members. So I'm going to the members of the squad team Active Directory group and begin seeing them. So I will move them from the users organizational unit to the squad team organizational unit. So now we will move some from the users. We will move the ship squad team from the organizational unit of users to the squad team organizational unit. So Ashley Williams is one of the ship members, Edie is one of them, and Garrus is one of them. This is exactly in the game. Grant also is one of them. So I am following the game step by step in the names, in the titles, in the location. Jacob Taylor, Japhis or Jafek, this is a Prothean member of the Shepard or Commander Shepard fighting team. Legion Robot, this is one of the ship and one of the teaming or fight teams of Commander Shepard. All of them are members or are in the ship of the Normandy, so I will move them. Samara, that is Scott Ryder and Sarah Ryder. This is in the latest or the last part or the last part of the game, because Mass Effect have 3 parts, and there is the last one, which is Mass Effect Andromeda. So here we have all of them are the members. Okay, so we'll move them from the users organizational unit to the squad team organizational unit. So we'll move them. Okay, squad team. So we have 21 users, or 21 Active Directory users. So here I'm just revising and see if I have missed any users. So I'm just here revising, and they have an Active Directory security group by their name. So there is a couple of users still missing. Just a moment. Let's continue our lab here. There's a couple of users missing. So now we have all of our team. Okay, the squad team or the ship team. I need just to make sure that I am yes, I am typing or I am talking. So here there is the AI. This is a group for the AI. Okay, contains the Catalyst and ED. Okay, they are AI. And there is something called another group called AI users. So this is the AI for the ship or AI for the characters of Mass Effect, and I will show you all a little bit of a graph. These are the robots, and every group of robots are assigned to a specific department. And let me show you all a little bit of a graph here. So here, for example, we can see that this is the front office department, for example. This is the kitchen department. This is the housekeeping department. Let me show you all a little bit, to be more clear. So here we can see that every department have a couple of robots. This is the names of the robots. Okay, and I'll show you all in the graph. Okay, and then I will create, for example, engineering robot AI user. This engineering robot AI user will be responsible for running or for accessing the engineering robots or the computer objects called robots. Or for example, are the robots, and I will create a user, okay, that will be the only one to access these robots. Okay, this is called engineering robot AI. Human resources user will access the human resources computers. Okay, so this is an Active Directory user. It will access an Active Directory computer object or robot object. So the engineering robot AI user will access the engineering robots. Okay, that information technology robot AI user will access the IT or Active Directory or Active Directory computer objects or robot objects. So for every department we will create an artificial intelligent user that will be able to manage and access the robots or the computer objects in the Active Directory. So we have how much department? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So we have 9 artificial intelligent users or 9 Active Directory users. We will specify that every artificial intelligent user to access certain Active Directory computers or certain Active Directory robots. Okay, and after that we will collect them all in one group. We will call it AI robot users group. We will limit every AI robot user, Active Directory user, to log into specific department robots. Okay, this is the one that I was talking about. So the engineering will access the engineering robots, the human resources will access the human resources robots, and so on. So here we will create different Active Directory users and limit them to access different or specific Active Directory robots or computers. Okay, so now here we can see, for example, this is the first thing. Just a minute. All task, and then we will have a user. For example, we will have the first artificial intelligence. It's ED. Okay, artificial intelligent, or ED engineering artificial intelligent. Okay, AI user. This will be responsible, or it will only access the engineering robots or computers. Okay, we will instruct them to do this. I will tell him password never expire, because this will be a service account, or I consider it to be an account that should not be disabled, or its password should not be locked for any reason. We need to make sure that if we have a service account, this is a concept in Active Directory. You create a user that will have, or it will run a service that needs to be 24/7 online. So this account, its password should not have an expiry date, because if this will have an expiry date, it maybe will lock for any reason. So this is not allowed, especially if the service needs to be running 24/7. So what you will do, we will have a service account created. We will have a password given to him. We will check password never expire, and then you take a note when this password was created, and you manually change the password when the expiry time comes. Okay, but you will not give the Windows, or you will not give the Active Directory the rights to lock the account, or lock the account if the password is exceeded the expiry time date. Okay, so now we have ED engineering user. So now here we will create about 7 users. Okay, and you just need to show you all this is for the fighters. Okay, so we will have how much? Just a moment. We can have, let me show you all at the end. Just a moment. Again, sorry. Again. So here, this is the last one. We will have the one, or ED, artificial intelligence, for accessing or for managing the robots for the IT department. So here, just a moment, and I need to go a little bit further from here. Again, no, just a moment. Again. So just I will show you all a little bit of thing. So here we can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 artificial intelligence or AI users, every user for a certain department, and this department user will access certain robots. Okay, these robots are assigned for this specific department. Okay, so we'll see that in a moment. Now we will group them all. So we have our artificial intelligent users done. We need to put them in the security group, which is called MEU AI users. Okay, so here we'll go to the AI users, and then we will add all of the ED. We go to check, or we need to search in a certain location. Okay, now we will go and select all of the ED artificial intelligence, okay, that we have here until the security. Okay, so this will be the artificial intelligence. Take a note. Okay, we now go and limit every user to access certain computers or to manage certain Active Directory robots. We will see that in a moment. Okay, so now for example we will have the engineering AI user. we'll go to the account and tell him to log in to certain robots or certain computers, log on to, and then we're on to the following computers or following robots, which will be in the Geth organizational unit. For example, here we can see that we have these 4. We can go a little bit further again. We can see here that there are 4 robots or 4 computers. We will limit, or we will tell the engineering or EDEI engineering user to access these 4 robots or to access these 4 computers only. Okay, so they cannot access, for example, the computers of the Geth fighters. Okay, this will be only accessed by the Geth fighter artificial intelligent user. Okay, so every artificial intelligent user will be responsible for managing a couple of computers. Okay, so now for example here we'll take the name, okay, and tell him follow a computer. So we'll have tell him to add the Geth 1 engineering, and then we will add Geth 2 and Geth 3 and Geth 4 and so on. So okay, and Geth 4. Okay, so we'll repeat the same process for every artificial intelligent user. So I not bother you with the details, so we can pass it real quickly. So here, just a moment. Okay, no, come back. Okay, just a moment. So now we have finished, we have done all of this. We have linked every artificial intelligent user with its correspondent robots. So now what we will do now, we will share, or we will do something here. First of all, I need to show you a small graph here. Let me demonstrate this. Here we have something. I want to, let me show you all this graph. Okay, here for example I need to have a script to be applied to every Active Directory user. Okay, so here is the Active Directory user properties. In the field called login script, I will type a script name. This script I need it to be applied for every user that have an Active Directory user account. Okay, so here it's my computer.bat. This script will be put in the sysvol folder under scripts folder. This folder is shared and hidden. Why it is shared? So every user can access this folder and implement the script. Okay, it's hidden, so it's not easily accessed by anyone. So Active Directory users should have rights on this folder to run the bat computer.bat file. So the user will go to the folder of scripts in sysvol folder and run the script. So a couple of things will be applied on him. I will show you all what we want to apply in this script. This script, okay, will apply a couple of registry keys. Okay, these registry keys, every one of them will do certain thing. I will describe also this. So the script will apply a couple of things, and then there is some files this script will run. These files in another folder. So these files are not in the scripts folder under sysvol. It's in another folder called background. Okay, so this background folder also should be shared so the Active Directory users can reach it, and also they should have rights on it so they can run it and execute it. Okay, we can have a little bit of a small demonstration here, but from the other way around. For example, here we can see that this is the script. Here I am telling the script, or I need this script to apply on the users, okay, when they log in the domain for the first time from any PC. So we have 3 lines, and then we have 5 registry keys to be applied. The 2 or 3 lines, I am telling the script to please make this PC icon and the control panel, or sorry, this PC icon to appear on the desktop for the user, because this is not done by default. Okay, and I need you to change this PC name, or this PC, change this PC to the name of the computer. So instead of the icon and its text under this PC, he will remove this PC and type the computer name. So this is the first 3 lines in the script. Okay, just a moment. So this is the first 3 line in the scripts, and then I need the user, when he logs in, I need him to have the English and Arabic keyboard layout to be installed. So this is the registry key language. And the second one, the search hide, I need you to hide the Cortana, okay? And the time zone, I need you to make the time zone to be Egypt or Cairo time. And the performance setting, I need you to make some setting to make the Windows faster, okay? This is the last one. And as for the last line, it is a program. I need you to make it run when the user logs in for the first time. This program is responsible for logging off the machine if there is no activity for, or the computer is idle for 3000 seconds, okay? So this is the script. Its location, we can see here, it is typed in the Active Directory user properties. This is the location, login script, mycomputer.bat, okay? Where is the location of this script? It is in the C Windows sysvol folder. By the way, this is the folder, but the share, it's the domain and then the sysvol folder, okay? So it's having the location of the sysvol folder is the C Windows sysvol folder, okay? You can put it sysvol folder, then scripts folder, or you can go to the net login share. So by the way, there is 2 folders, C Windows sysvol folder and C Windows sysvol folder scripts. The 2 are shared, okay? The 2 are shared. The share for the C Windows sysvol folder scripts, it's narco.local/netlogin. So its share name is netlogin, okay? And the share for the C Windows sysvol folder, it's named the domain then sysvol folder. So you can put them in the netlogin folder, or you can go to the sysvol share and access the scripts folder and put it, okay? Active Directory should have right on this folder to run the computer bat file shared by default, okay? So this is one. So this is the location of mycomputer.bat. We can see here that the registry keys are in another folder. So this script have a couple of lines it will implement, and then it will go and point, or it will go and run a couple of registry keys or files that are not in the C Windows sysvol folder. It's on another location, okay? So this location or this folder, sorry, should be shared, okay? Should be shared, okay? And the Active Directory users should have rights to access to run this. So by sharing it, you are giving users or the Active Directory users a way to access the folder and to give them some permissions. So you need to put permissions on the folder to make the users able to run the keys. So we can just say here from the graph that the scripts folder in sysvol, the Active Directory user should have at least, okay, to read from this folder and to read and execute this file, okay? So the rights of the Active Directory user should have rights on the scripts folder to read from it, so they can be able to read from the folder, and this file they should have read and execute rights, okay? And this background folder they should have also the read right, and they should have on the files inside it read and execute, okay? So the users for the Active Directory, if the users to Active Directory need to execute the script, they need to have read and execute right, and you need to have on the file and read on the folder, okay? So this is a small thing to say, or this is the way of the script that we will apply. So we'll go now and see how this is done through the through here. We will first share the folder, so we need to share the folder of backgrounds. This will contain the registry keys, okay? Okay, so let me show you all here. If you can see from the graph that that there is a folder called backgrounds. This is the one that will contain the registry keys, okay? And this is the script is pointing to it, okay? So we need to share the folder and give the Active Directory users right on it, okay? So as for the scripts folder, it's already having or they already have the needed rights. So the scripts folder have read right for the users, and for the mycomputer.bat they have read and execute. So now we will share the folder. we will have two share permissions, one of the SMB share permissions and the one for the NTFS share permissions. They are the same, but they are double layer, or they are considered double layer permissions. So if one of the permissions not work, the other will work, or it's like a safe with two keys. So here what I'm doing here, just I need to show you something. Here I am adding three groups. So here we can see that these three groups, there is a default Active Directory or a default built-in Active Directory group called domain users. This contains all of the Active Directory users in the domain. So by default they are put, this is created and all of your Active Directory users are put in it. Okay, and I have my MEU all species group. I put all of my Active Directory users in it, and I have my IT group. So I will give my IT group full control over the folder, okay, and will give my species or the rest of the groups to have read permission. Okay, and inside you will see that they can have on the files or on the registry keys, they will have read and execute. So this is the SMB share permissions. This will be done. So you'll have full, and then we have read permissions, and then we'll have security, and then we'll add the same groups. So here we can see that, for example, all species, or by default they have read and execute. Okay, so this is what we need. We need to have read in the SMB share permissions. It is read and its equivalent, or the one exactly like it but named differently in the NTFS permissions, called read and execute. Okay, so this is what we need. I will give the IT full control over the folder, and then now we can and by the way, I need to show you all something. Okay, so I need to show also from the graph something here. We need to go to all of the Active Directory users, select them, and put in the field of login script the name of my script, which is my computer.bat. And before that I need to go and put my computer.bat in the sysvol share folder, or in the net login folder. Okay, or put it in the C Windows sysvol folder, but you will not put it here, we'll put it in the share. So this is the local name. The share name, we will go to net login or sysvol and put our my computer.bat in it. Okay, not sysvol itself, under it there is something called scripts. We will put my computer.bat, or we can go directly to net login and put my computer.bat in it. Okay, so now we will continue. So now what I will do, I will go and put my computer here, not the backgrounds. So we will go to net login and put my computer.bat in it. Okay, and then we need to go to all of the Active Directory users. Okay, first we need to edit the script, because I have used it in a previous lab. So we need to change here, because this is the backgrounds that we have shared the folder. So this is the wrong type of, this is the name of the server and then the share name, or so the server, it's not it's EDMF01. So we need to change here just to reflect the correct URL, or the correct, sorry, the correct UNC. Okay, for the share folder for the backgrounds. And then after doing this, we need to select all of the Active Directory users and edit their properties, and go to the field of login script and type my computer.bat. So now we can save it. Yeah, I'm having a little bit of performance issues with the Hyper-V anyway. So now again I log into the so here I'm trying to access the Active Directory by using my user or Active Directory username. So I will disable the administrator. As I said before, this is the best practice. So I need to access the Active Directory with my username. So just we will go there, okay, and we are doing the script. Okay, I need to pass all of this. This is not the thing I need. So what I am doing here, here we say in the script that there is something called idle logoff. This is a program. We need to put it in location called C idle logoff folder, idle logoff program. So this is the script. We'll go to this location to run the program. If you remember that we have something in the script, or here we can see that, for example, here I don't have C idle logoff folder, idle logoff program. We can see here from the graph here, okay, that you need to have C idle logoff program, okay. So I don't have this location, I don't have this folder, so I need to create the folder and put the program in it, so the script can see the location and start the program when the user logs in for the first time. Okay, so now we will do it. Here I'm just going to the administrator and get my console or my custom console, because all of these are on the desktop of the administrator user account. So I need to go to the administrator desktop and get my console. So now I need to run it, and then we need to go and select all of the Active Directory users and put in the field of login script the name of the script that I need to apply, which is my computer.bat. We'll see that in a moment. So we will go to the users and select them all by one. So here this is the name of the script. I'll take the name just to rename it. Now I need only to take the name, and then we will select them all, Control A, and then properties, right click properties, and then in the field of profile we will check login script and we will put the name of the script .bat, okay, and apply and okay. So now we are telling the Active Directory to execute this script on every user in the domain. And now do not forget that we have some users in the squad team as well, organizational unit, so we need also to put the script field or to activate the script field in it, okay. So .bat and then apply and okay. So we have the users and we have the squad team and then we have everything. So I think we maybe need to restart. Then we need to restart the server and try to log in and see if the script will be applied to me. So we need to make a restart and see. So now when I log in with my user account, okay, you will see that we have our script applied, but you need to take a note that he will ask you to run the script. There will be a user account control, or there is a notification when you run the registry key. We can disable this after that, but you need to tell him to run the registry key so the script will continue, okay, or the batch file will continue. So now we can see now something. So now we can see that my computer.bat is running in a command prompt window, and then he will ask you to run or tell him to allow to run the registry keys. We have 4 or 5 registry keys, so tell him yes. We can disable this notification or user access or user account control. We can disable it. We can see here that the user or this PC is changed to the name of the computer, so the script is applied. Okay, tell him yes. We can see also yes. We can see that the time zone is changed. A couple of things is all of what in the script it is applied. We can see here that from a couple of seconds the Cortana was there, the magnifier or the magnifier eye it is disappeared. Okay, we can see this, and everything is applied except for the English and Arabic keyboard layout. So when we restart it or we restart the PC for the second time, the script will complete. It's already there. It's the keyboard, it is already installed, but it didn't appear in the taskbar. So to make it appear, you just need to restart the PC for the second time, just it, and then Control Alt Delete, and then. So this concludes for our video. I think the upcoming video will begin working with the group policies. We will create group policies. We will begin making not also group policies. We will begin creating department shares and user home directory folders, and how to map the department shares and to map the home user or user home directory folders. And all of this will be done through scripts, so through PowerShell scripts. Okay, I think. So let's get a little bit quicker. So here we can see, if you wait for it, for example, they ask you to make the registry key again or to run the registry keys. Here we can see that the timing is changed to reflect Cairo time zone, and we can see that the Cortana, which is it's an icon like a glass magnifier, it is hidden, and then we can see at the end that the English and Arabic it is added. Okay, so now I think our video is finished. That concludes for our video. So the upcoming video will talk about the group policies, the department shares, how to map them, and the user home directory folder, and how to map them, how to map the department shares using a group policy, and how to map the user home directories. Hope this video was informative for you all, and I would like to thank you all for viewing. Thank you so much.